So, morning everyone. I think this might be the earliest I've ever streamed, like in the morning, but I don't really have too much to do right now because it's the weekend, so I thought, why not? And also, this chapter is probably gonna take a while. So, looks like a lot of mages, a couple wyvern knights, which shouldn't be too bad because of the magic on our team. Really, I think the main problem is just gonna be all of the mages that we're gonna have to deal with. And then, I'm gonna guess that this desert, if it works how it does in other games, is gonna be very, very annoying. Basically, if it's how it is in other games, mages and flyers will be completely okay. They don't have to worry about the terrain effects. But everyone else, their movement just dips so far below. What's this dude? Oh, and here he is. So this is Garneth. He's basically the main boss of this game. He's not the final boss, but he's really just the archetype of the character where we're gonna fight him or see him quite a bit throughout the story, and he's going to basically be like the secondary antagonist. So, I think overall his role in the story is pretty nice. There are certain Fire Emblem games where, you know, the Garneth archetype shows up and I'm kind of like, I don't really care. But it's never that terrible. I'd say most of the games where that archetype appears, it's not too bad. Okay, I'm gonna take Paula. I like her. Julian for the chess, and then Beck can't do that much, but I don't know who else I would really take. Because Beck wouldn't be able to move, like, anywhere because of his movement. So, I guess Reese can come along because I think he might still have a healing staff or two. That could be pretty good to have. Kadain, the City of Magic. This hallowed place is now under Garneth's control. No warrior, no matter how brave, can stand up to the spells of Kadain. Though they may try, one by one, they will inevitably fall. How has this place truly sunk into shadow? So, the Garneth archetype, if I remember correctly, the characters for it are obviously Garneth for FE1, 3, 11, and 12. Jeddah for 2 and 15. I'm forgetting his name, but there's this Loptirian dude. The Loptirians are basically the villains for Fire Emblem 4 Genealogy of the Holy War. He gets to be the Garneth for that game. Similar thing to FE5, however, the Garneth archetype for FE5 is also actually the final boss. FE6, I don't actually know if there is a Garneth for FE6 because the only really villainous mage that you fight in late game is Brunya, and she doesn't really fit the archetype. She's quite a bit more of, I wouldn't say Camus because she's very loyal to her country and to her king, Zephiel. I'd say she's more like the super big follower for the main bad guy. So I don't believe there's a Garneth archetype for that game. And then FE7, that one's a lot easier. Second to last boss of the game is obviously the Garneth. I'm forgetting his name as well, but he's definitely the Garneth. Because he basically fits all of the categories. Garneths are usually very strong mages that you fight in the late game, whose entire purpose is usually to help out the final boss, mainly by resurrecting them. FE8, Leon is technically the Garnef. However, he kind of serves several different roles because Leon throughout the story he fits the categories of Garnef with, like, he's one of the last mages you fight. His entire purpose in the game is really just to resurrect the final boss, all of that kind of stuff. But he also gets a lot more character, and he's very, very interesting, even though he fits into that archetype of character. I think it's mainly just because of the fact that for most of the game, Leon is possessed. So instead of getting the usual villainous Garnef, you get this character whose backstory is a bit tragic, and he's just trying his best. FE9 and 10, I don't think there's really Garnef for either of them. 13 is obvious. It's, man, I'm forgetting all of these guys' names. Valadar. Valadar is the super obvious Garnef for that game. His entire purpose is to serve Grima. He's the leader of the Grimleal. He's just doing his thing. So, he's super obviously the Garnef of that game. Fates is a bit interesting because the Garnef for that game is probably Iago. It makes a lot of sense because Garnef and Valadar are two of the main villains that you fight in Fire Emblem Warriors, and the spot for Fates for Warriors goes to Iago as the main villain, which honestly I really feel like should have gone to Garen, because you fight Garen in 2 of the 3 routes. He's probably the most important quote-unquote secondary antagonist, but I'm guessing they chose Iago because he's obviously Garen's right-hand man, and since Garen is technically one of the final bosses for the games, they probably decided, we can't do him, we have to do someone else. So instead, we have Iago, who definitely fits the bill with the whole evil sorcerer helping out the final boss, but I feel like his role throughout the story is a bit less than some of the other Garnefs. 3 Houses, also similar to FE6, I don't really feel like there's a Garnef for that game. Depending on the route, you could make several different arguments for who the Garnef could be. Like, you could say Tomas might be the Garnef, or it might be Tallis. Tallis is probably the most likely candidate for Garnef. I mean, he's basically the main villain trying to resurrect the final boss throughout most of the routes. He's definitely the most prominent member of those who slither in the dark, all that kind of stuff. He fits the bill. But I could see arguments for someone like Tomas, because he definitely tries to do a lot of different things that can lead you to believe that he's a Garnef. I'd say you could honestly separate Part 1 and Part 2 out to where Part 1's Garnef is more Tomas and Part 2's Garnef is more Tallis. The only other character in that game that I could really see people making an argument for this person is meant to be a Garnef is maybe Hubert. Just because he appears quite a bit. That's the enemy mage. Whoops. He appears quite a bit throughout the story, obviously to try and stop your path. And then along with that, he is obviously the right-hand man to Edelgard, who is the final boss for at least the Blue Lions route, and is the main villain for 3 of the 4 routes until something happens and you get the final boss. And then Engage, I'd say, is probably the most similar to FE6, where there probably isn't really a Garnef for none of the characters like fully fit the bill for what a Garnef could be. But if one of them was considered Garnef, it would probably either be Evil Veil or Zephia. Zephia obviously is the leader of the 4 Hounds. She's a mage dragon. You know, we're getting the magic in there, we're getting the right-hand man in there, which definitely helps out. The problem is mainly with the fact that her overall personality doesn't fully fit into how I feel Garneth usually is. And then along with that, the boss of that game has already been resurrected and taken out of his ceiling by the time that we see the game going on. So, as for Evil Vale, she could be considered possible Garneth because she does do quite a bit of things throughout the story and her entire character is basically made to help out the final boss. So, in a lot of ways, she could be considered the Garneth of that game. And I feel like she might fit the bill at least a bit better. Especially because one of the other things that Garneths usually have is that you will see them in an earlier chapter before like the final battles occur and you really have to fight them. And during that time, usually you can try and fight them, but your units are so much more underleveled that they will basically die, and usually the Garneths are invincible. Like, you can fight Vale in, I believe it's chapter 11 or 12 of the game, but she is so powerful, aka the game is coded to make it so that she can't get hit by any damage from any of your units. So I feel like she would probably be the quote-unquote Garneth of that game. As for some other characters... Oh, that's a lot of damage. Dang it, Wolf. There are definitely some other characters in Fire Emblem that definitely fit into their archetypes really well. Like, once we get Est, you can see it because the Est archetype is very, very simple to explain. Late game units that have insane growth rates. And those units can usually appear in a lot of Fire Emblem games, but the availability of them, even though the entire point of them is that if you train them up, then they're going to be super strong, but you usually get them pretty late. Usually a lot of their existences are just hurt so much by the fact that they join late, because you can't really get to use those high growths because the base stats are usually so low. I'd say one of the only exceptions for Est units might be Delphia, who I believe is meant to be the Est for Fire Emblem 2 and 15, as she's one of the later units you get for Alms Route in that game. She starts off as an unpromoted level 3 mage, or usually your units are starting to get their promotions around that time or getting close to them. But to offset that, she has some pretty great growth rates. She's definitely one of the better ones, I feel, though, because you get her right at the end of part 3, so you still have to go through parts 4 and 5 in the story, which are still quite a few chapters. There's, I believe, a dungeon or 2 left in the game for you to go through, and obviously you can backtrack through that game to previous dungeons and fight the weaker enemies. So I think a lot of the benefits that come from that game outweigh a lot of the downfalls that she could get into because she's an Est. Obviously you have Est herself, which in this game, I don't think she comes in until like chapter 19 or something like that, which you only have 6 chapters left. She's coming in at, I believe, also around level 3. She's not going to be doing that much, even with her growth rates. I looked them up last night because I was interested in seeing how she could do. She has 70% growth rates in strength, skill, speed, and something else that I can't remember off the top of my head. That's insane. For reference, Sheeta, she only has a 20% strength growth. And that's so much worse. Like 50% difference in those strength growths, you're going to get a lot of differences in those two units. But the problem is S joins so much later than Sheeta does that Sheeta has a chance to get all of those levels, have a better chance at getting the promotion than S. So the only way to really use S is to train her up a bunch. That's pretty difficult to do considering her base stats are so low. And then similar situation happens with a few other characters. The main one I always think of is Nino from Fire Emblem 7, who is also the very obvious S student. She joins when there's only about, I believe, 5 or 6 chapters left in the main story as a level 3 unit with some pretty bad bases. And you can try and use her. I think there have been certain times where I've tried to use her because I'd say training people up in Fire Emblem 7 is a bit easier than some other Fire Emblem games because you can easily chip down a lot of units, and usually they, at least for Est, they usually don't have the resistance to fully tank any of her hits, so Est will be able to do at least a little bit of damage to them. Oh, damn it. But the downside to Nino is because of her very, very late join time, and the map she joins, there's quite a bit of flyers going around, so, and usually that wouldn't be a problem for certain maps, but her joining map is one of the worst maps for infantry and armored units to try and get through, because it is a bunch of small platforms all surrounded by water that is impassable by anyone other than flyers. And then randomly, I don't know if it's randomly or if there's like a set way that it occurs, but the only way to get from platform to platform is by crossing usually one tile lines going through. Meaning that if you want to try and train up Nino, you need to keep her protected from all sides, making sure that no one can hit her. Meanwhile, you're also trying to protect all of your units who can easily get hit themselves. It's very, very hard to deal with. And then what makes it honestly a bit worse for her is that the other chapters that are in that game are also pretty difficult for her to train overall, because after that is Cog of Destiny, I believe, which is a pretty fun map in my opinion, but it's also about the enemy map, meaning that you need to make sure all of those enemies have been killed before you can actually finish out the map. So trying to protect her and train her in that one could be easy, because you have a whole bunch of enemies that you need to deal with, but they're already promoted units, probably level 5 promoted units, something like that. It's very, very hard to try and deal with them and try and get Nino up there and promoted with everyone else on that map. After that, it's either Eliwood or Hector's chapter to get their legendary weapon, which Eliwood's you can only bring, I believe, 5 people in there, and Hector's you can only bring like 2, so you probably don't want to have Nino be one of those characters. You'd want to do someone else. Actually though, for Hector's, she actually could train a little bit on Hector's map, because his map is a lot of lower level unpromoted units, because they really want you to try and get as many levels as you can before you get the full promotion with either Eliwood or Hector. I don't remember what Eliwood's map is like, but I don't believe that there are as many units, and the units that are around are a lot more promoted units. Fewer units, more promotions, a lot more units, but more unpromoted units. So honestly, on Hector mode, you might be able to train her up a little bit on a map like that. But even after that, there's still only about, 4 chapters left? And one of them is a battle preparations map, which you don't even fight anyone other than fighting people in the arena, which, if you want to try and get all of the characters, you can certainly train in the arena in either Eliwood or Hector mode, but if you're playing Hector mode and you want to get all of the characters, you need to prioritize getting Carla from the arena. So Nino just doesn't really have that much time to try and get the levels that she could use to actually be a really good unit. And that doesn't help that she's just a mage in general, because you get quite a few mages in that game, and all of the mages are pretty good to use. Especially, like, just a few chapters before you get Nino, you get Pent, who is an absolutely insane pre-promote mage with some great magic stats, some pretty good bulk, I'd say. And he also comes with an automatic A support from Louise to just help him excel in combat even further. So there's no real point in using Nino unless you really, really like her. I don't think there's any for Fire Emblem 8. Maybe Serene, but at the same time I feel like she's too high of a level and doesn't have insane growth rates to make her a possible S candidate. I do know, though, FE9's S is Alencia, and I love Alencia, so when I get to that game, she's probably gonna be... I'm pretty sure she, once again, just like all of the other S, she doesn't appear until, like, super late into the game, and she has some pretty good growths, but pretty bad base stats. I'm gonna be using her because I love Alencia a lot. So, she honestly definitely deserved better, in my opinion, because... So Alencia, in Path of Radiance, she's kind of like secondary protagonist in a way to Ike, because the entire thing for her in that game is she's trying to rescue her kingdom of Crimea from the villains, who is again Dane. And so she's trying to get help from a bunch of people to reclaim her kingdom. And it's a bit of an interesting story because her character is like, hey, I need to get back my homeland, and I need to save these people who I really care about, but also I don't know what I'm doing yet, because her entire life was spent hidden away from public eye so that she wouldn't be assassinated. And now she has to come out in public without fully knowing too much about what it means to be a royal and how to help her people. And she needs to figure that out. So then going from Path of Radiance over to Radiant Dawn, you get to see her growth and maturity over the past 3 years, and she's really coming to her own, trying to help out her people in the best way that she can. I really like that. Especially, you really get to see it with the fact that she actually gets her own few chapters in the story where she's the main character. And we get to see basically what's going on in Crimea ever since she has taken over, and what the general public thinks about her, which is very, very fun to see. I will say though, I wish she was given a bit more throughout the main story, because after part 2, which is where she's basically the main character, she disappears. Well, for reference, first of all, she's playable in part 2, but only for the first chapter of that part and the last chapter of that part, so you don't even get to use her too much. And then she appears throughout the story in part 3, and then part 4 she gets control of her own, the army split up into 3 distinct parts, and you would look at it and you would say, okay, We have Ike's army. That makes sense. He is basically one of the main characters for part 3. We have Micaiah's army. That also makes sense. She was the main character for part 1 and also part of part 3. And then we have the Hawk army, led by Tabarn and Nada Lincia. And I don't really know how to feel about it, because on the one hand, you have Tabarn, who's a pretty great character and is basically, he's one of the Lugus royals, but I'd say he's probably the main Lugus royal that you get to see throughout the story. So in a way, it makes sense why he would get to lead his own army. But you also have Alencia, who has been leading her own army during part 2 and has been a very, very important character in the story. And she doesn't get that role. Instead, it's given to Tabarn. And I could understand if they were both given the role, because I'd say their screen time in the chapters... Oh no! Garnif can move. Oh... Shit. 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 Oh, shit. Everyone's gonna need to run away. Ignoring that, I think it could make sense if they were both given the protagonist role, and it might sound a bit weird, but it could actually work out really well, considering that the protagonist role is given to both Ike and Micaiah in the endgame chapters. They both have the abilities of what the protagonist usually gets by themselves. So I feel like it could make sense if both Alencia and Tabarn were given that role. But they aren't both given that role. It's only given to Tabarn. It's just very, very weird to me. Shoot, 6 movement. Everyone's just gonna need to run away. Garnif is way too powerful to try and deal with. But then I also just wish that Alencia was able to be used a bit more in Radiant Dawn, because, you know, you get her for like 2 chapters in part 2, and then you don't get to use her again until, I believe, one of the final chapters of part 3. And then she's forced into one of the 3 armies in part 4, where she can be used a little bit, but not really that much. And then she's available if selected for endgame. So she gets more of a role than some other characters, but I feel like she really could have gotten a bit more. Especially her personal skill in that game, in Radiant Dawn, absolutely sucks. If anyone decides that they want to play Radiant Dawn and they want to use Alencia, because overall, even with the downsides, I'd say she's a pretty good unit to use. If you decide to use her, right when you get access to her in the menu system, go to the skills, remove, I believe it's called Mercy. Her personal skill that she gets, it's terrible. It makes it so any enemy she goes into combat with, if she's able to kill them, they don't die. They're instead reduced down to 1 HP, which is great if you want lower level units to get some kills. But if you don't need to worry about that, there's no real point in having that skill on hand. It's so dumb to me. And I would also say maybe it makes a bit of sense for story reasons, because Lincia is a lot more of a pacifist who's just trying her best in the situation that she's in. But like, even then, at the point in the story where you get real access to her in the menu, I feel like she shouldn't have to worry so much about Mercy killing anymore, because a lot of the guys you're fighting are just super evil. And even then, like, it doesn't really matter. Valencia really, she got the short end of the stick in some parts. It's decent damage, but he's about to get destroyed by Blizzard. What other S are there? I don't think there's any really for Awakening or Fates. I'd say maybe you could consider the child units of those games to be S in a way, because they all get the things of, they usually join later in the story, but they have insane growth rates, okay, base stats. But like even then, if you know what you're doing with child units, they're gonna be amazing units. You don't have to worry about training them up. Well, you do have to worry about training them up, but usually you training them up just makes them even more insane. So it's not that they aren't really terrible. 3 houses, I think Flame is considered the Est, because that game is just so weird with the overall ways you can get units. But I believe that Flame is meant to be the Est. I don't think there's anyone for Engage either who really fits the categories. I would say Veil, except Veil, you get her, she's very, very strong, so she's definitely not an Est. There are a few archetypes in there, though, that I kind of wish appeared again. I'd say probably one of the bigger ones is the Goto archetype. I kind of wish that the Goto archetype appeared a few more times, because, you know, oh shoot, Marth's about to die. The idea of having just like this super powerful unit who joins you literally in the final chapter of the game is very funny to me. And so I wouldn't mind if the Goto archetype appeared again, but I also would completely understand if they didn't appear again. I think I played this chapter completely wrong. I probably should have waited for a lot of these guys instead of just going all in. Or I should have at least used Barrier on someone. Because now Marth's about to die. Okay, good. He has a Vulnerary at least. So, gotta have him use that, and then probably get Physic from Maria. Hopefully that's enough to the point where we don't have to worry about Emulu. But I don't know if Katria, no, Sheeta, that's Sheeta. I don't know if Sheeta has enough attack to use the Killing Edge on this dude. Oh, duh! I should use the Worm Slayer, because they're dragons. Kind of. Oh. And Pella might join her sister. That sucks. Okay. Pella... Not Pella. Sheeta. Levin Sword. Oh! That's nice. Doesn't kill him, but it helps. No strength. And I did not expect that he would move, so that really sucks. Caster's probably gonna kill that flyer, so 11. Should be enough. As long as she hits. Please hit Minerva. Good. And I need to remember to go slow in some of these later chapters because I keep rushing in certain situations and it's just not turning out well. Alright, Caster should be able to kill. No. Oh. Caster almost died. Jeez. Okay. I have full. And I would say I'd send Roger over to deal with that dude, but you can't reach. I would rather kill the mage. Damn it, Navarre. This doesn't look good. Oh, but if the AI is still the same, this dude should retreat over to the healer. Unless the healer moves first, which would be a huge problem. Okay, hopefully Bantu will be able to get some damage with the Firestone. I don't know if he'll be able to kill, but can I at least get close? Oh, yes! Okay, that's good. Now, I'm gonna have Roger come over here and give the killing edge over to Navarre. Never mind. I guess Roger can just wait. And then Reese, come over here, heal up Navarre. It's better than 4 HP. Okay. These guys can't really do anything. Unless there's another physics staff in the convoy, but I don't think there is. He probably can't check though, because he has a full inventory. Yeah, got it. Warp, heal. No, there isn't. Okay. So these guys are just gonna have to keep waiting. Hopefully Garnet doesn't kill Marth. Oh. Garnet, please go away. You hit again? How does this dude have such low accuracy, but he can keep hitting? Man. Okay. Awesome. He moved before the healer. That's very, very good. Yeah, mend all you want. Okay. Marth just needs to keep retreating. Let's use a physic. Okay. I would say Sheeta might be able to kill this mage, and then possibly survive Garneth. So I'm gonna have her attack, and then Paula can just retreat. Okay. But now that Garneth, I guess he isn't totally out of range. Once Garneth gets out of range, I'm gonna send some of these guys down here so that they can get the chests. I'll probably take Hardin and Wolf down there because they can't move in the sandy terrain. And then I guess Ashram and Lind can come back up here to help out with this group. Okay, are there any other... No. It's healers and stuff. So... you gotta deal with this dude. Javelin. Caster gets close with the silver bow. That might be enough to kill. If Caster... at the same time, there's low accuracy because of that thing. I'm gonna have these guys retreat for now. I don't want them to get killed. I do kind of wonder if Garneth will actually go after Sheeta, or if he'll go after Marth because he's the main character. Because I'm gonna guess that the AI will prioritize trying to kill the main character and cause a game over instead of, you know, dying super easily. Okay, Navarre is gonna drop the steel sword and use, or actually trade recover over to Reese and then use the vulnerary. Now Roger can go ahead and trade him over the killing edge. And Reese can recover Roger. Awesome. Okay, and then Bantu can just go over here. Obviously Reese can't be protected from the javelin because 2-range stuff, but it's better than nothing. Pal's gonna come over here. Okay. Okay, she'll be fine. Unless Garneth goes after her. Because that is a guaranteed kill, I believe. Please don't kill Cat. Oh. I guess he's leaving. I'll take it. Oh, this guy isn't leaving though. Oh. She's safe. Reese probably isn't though. Unless he dodges? Nope. Rest in peace, Reese. He had the recover! Oh! That hurts. I could care less about Reese, but that recover stuff is looking really good. Huh. Well... dang. Okay. I'm gonna guess that this dude can get over to Sheeta because of 10 movement. Yeah. Which is a huge problem. Minerva? I need to set up some people to help distract him so that he doesn't try and kill Sheeta. People that won't die. Bella's close to death. She's not going over there. Maria can come over here. Heal. Okay. Now, Caster, just get the kill. Please. I forgot that he doubles. Man. Caster was doing so well, too. Astrum. Kill. I should have just sent Astrum it. Really? This is not going well. This chapter is putting me to the test. Okay. Just no one else die. Are you kidding me? Those chests don't feel worth it anymore. Why are you going over to Julian? Is that a kill? Okay. Awesome. Love to see it. I gotta say the good news is that at least I have another thief. Which means that... Damn! Fire Emblem got hands. Fire Emblem got lots of hands. Good. Okay, you know what? No, I'm done with the chest. I'm not getting those chests. These guys are going over, killing the boss. We're ending this chapter. No one else is dying. Hopefully. Shoot, Astrum. I am running out of healing. Hey. Forgot about Bantu. If Bantu dies, I'm gonna do the same exact thing I did with Lind. If Bantu dies, I have to do a turn rewind, because I don't know if this game will still be possible without Tiki, but I really, really want Tiki, just in case, because she's gonna be such a good unit to have. Like... There's no one else other than... Yeah, it's just those two. It's not scary. get away from the mages. Just get away from the mages. Okay. I hate you. I hate you, Garneth. I don't even... Lost Catria last chapter. That hurt me so much. Then I lost Caster. And I really kept talking in the beginning of this game about how Caster sucks and he can't hit anything. And then he was doing extremely well, and then all of a sudden now he's dead. Then Julian just dies because javelins are javelins. And it's not good. It's not good at all. Very nice crit, but I won't bring back Catria or Caster or Julian. Just need to deal with these mages before I can kill them. Nice. Okay. Lynch should be able to. Aura. I'm pretty sure I talked about the fact, a couple days ago that I should probably save up Aura, but it's so useful that I want to just use it. Which will probably be a downfall for everything I'm doing once again. Okay, Sheeta needs healing. So Maria, heal. Okay. And there's the boss, who... Low defense, I'm guessing. Oh, 10. That's still quite a bit. And I'm gonna guess that his magic is also pretty potent. Meaning that I don't know what I'm gonna do. Down here. Should be able to help to kill this mage. Really? Really? Great. Awesome. So fun to see. I probably should have just used barrier. Should have used barrier this whole time. Oh well, it's too late. Done. Just get me out of this place. I hate these mages. Come on! Now you're leaving? I think Wolf is dead.